As Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin took to Facebook Monday night after the vote, saying, quote, "I'm cold, I'm tired, and I'm going home." President Trump announced late last week that he would be signing an executive order to pay TSA agents. Shots were reportedly fired this morning at Red Dirt Bar and Grill, and not much information has been released on the subject, but here's what we know. This morning at about 1:23, Lawton Police Department responded to calls of a shooting. Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin is awaiting his confirmation as the new Secretary of Homeland Security today. The Senate is currently in session where their full chamber is having their final debate and vote on Senator Mullin's new position. Bryn, Lyndon, today I spoke with students on campus to get their reactions to the conflict between the United States and Iran. Students tell me that they do not believe that the U.S. had any place taking these attacks on Iran. Thanks, Gracie. Once again, it's time for the second Friday Norman Art Walk. Starting tomorrow night at 6, the Walker Arts District of downtown Norman will be transformed into a celebration of art and creativity. Cariana, there are multiple opportunities to get some painting lessons this weekend at Pino's Palette. And it's time for this week's live music roundup. Tomorrow night, Chrome Heart Cam will be at the Resonator at 7 p.m. Thanks, Jack. Progress in Washington today. Markwayne Mullin is sworn in as the new Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Thanks, Bella. A new urgent pet care clinic is opening in Norman. Vital Vet Urgent Pet Care is the first urgent care clinic in Norman that is dedicated exclusively to pets. According to clinic owner Dr. Brittany Daly, the clinic is to help bridge the gap between 24-hour vet clinics and veterinarian clinics. Kevin, Lyndon, President Trump announced late last week that he would be signing an executive order to pay TSA agents. These workers have been showing up to work without pay for the past 45 days due to an ongoing shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. TSA officials say most employees began to receive back pay today. They also say, quote, "TSA officers are grateful to President Trump and Secretary Mullin for their leadership to put money back into the pockets of TSA employees who worked without pay during the ongoing Democrat DHS shutdown." Officials say more than 500 TSA employees quit and thousands were forced to call out of work. While workers should begin returning to work this week, Border Czar Tom Homan says ICE agents will continue to be present at some airports across the country until airports reach full staffing.
I'm working very closely with the TSA administrator and the ICE director to decide what airport needs what. But, God bless the men and women of ICE. So they're doing a job. They're plugging those holes. They're keeping the security of the airport at a high level. We got to keep the airport safe. We got to keep the American people, going through those lines. So, and ICE is helping, shorten those lines and adding security each and every airport around the country.
Currently, there are no ICE agents being seen here at Will Rogers, but we will keep you updated as we learn more. Reporting from Will Rogers Airport, Leah Smith, OU Nightly. Shots were reportedly fired this morning at Red Dirt Bar and Grill, and not much information has been released on the subject, but here's what we know. This morning at about 1:23, Lawton Police Department responded to calls of a shooting. There have been many posts on social media from members of the Lawton community saying that one person has died in this shooting. No confirmation has been given from LPD at this time, but LPD has confirmed that multiple victims have been taken to the hospital for their injuries. The total confirmed number of victims is currently unspecified. Detectives did respond to the crime scene this morning and have been doing investigations, and Lawton Police Department asked that anybody with any information regarding this incident contact the LPD Criminal Investigations Division directly. You can count on us to continue to follow this story with more updates as they develop. Reporting live from Lawton, I'm Leah Smith, 7 News. Bryn, Lyndon, the U.S. government is asking them to shelter in place. I spoke with one Oklahoman who's stuck in Puerto Vallarta, and he tells me he's witnessing this chaos right outside of his room.
Yesterday there was yelling frightening moments when you heard the motorcycles drive down the road and shooting going on. It was within probably, I'd say about a half a block away, and I could see the gas station. They burned about a block and a half from me, and then they had some car fires on the next street over, and I could see it.
Currently, the state of Jalisco looks like a war zone. Members of the Jalisco New Generation cartel are retaliating against the Mexican government and putting civilians in danger.
Yeah, it's sort of like a double-edged sword because you want to prioritize American citizens, but also they're in Mexico, so it's sort of a sketchy situation. But I think the best deal would just be working with the Mexican government to figure out what the proper response is, I guess.
This situation in Mexico is incredibly dangerous. Some OU students are scared for the citizens stuck in this environment.
This is so scary, and definitely changes my viewpoint, but I think overall as like a young woman, I've always had to be prepared, unfortunately, for things like this. I think you just like always have to be safe, even as a college student. So it makes me really sad.
The U.S. Embassy is posting safety and security updates to their website. We'll be monitoring this story as it develops. Bryn, Lyndon, back to you.